welcome back. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to get in this pretty quick because I've got like 30 slides. I'm going to bang them out as quick as I can. Sorry. First of all, there's a new book out. If you're interested, I haven't seen it yet. I wasn't able to get a copy of it. But it's a new ebook, got 250 pages. It's focusing on MicroPython, ESP8266 and ESP32. Looking forward to playing with it. We're releasing it in batches every couple of weeks. So, yeah, I don't know much about it, but I suspect it might be useful to this audience. I don't know if you've seen it, Damien?
Oh, it's ebook only, not paper?
Sorry?
Ebook only?
At this stage, ebook only. I think they're also gauging whether they're going to go through a print run. So, yeah. The same guys also publish a bunch of tutorials online as well, and they look like they're pretty well written. So, yeah, I'm going to get a look into it. I've registered to be notified when they come available. Interesting hardware. So Sony released their SprySense stuff. This thing's a bit of a beast. It's a 6-core Cortex M4F. Yeah, 150 meg. It's got 8 meg of flash, built-in GPS. We don't have a port for this on MicroPython yet, but it's just quite interesting hardware. You can throw like 8 microphones into this thing. It's got really good audio support, dedicated camera support. It looks really quite interesting. It's just a bit left of center, I guess, coming from Sony. So yeah, I think it's kind of interesting.
Did they develop it for some sort of consumer product?
Knowing Sony, it would have had to have been developed for something. I don't think you'll ever find out what it is.
Failed as a consumer product, so they're selling it as a separate board.
Maybe.
Like that.
It looks like that type.
Yeah.
So does it have open data sheets?
There's documentation. I don't know how much of it's open yet. I haven't dug into this one yet. So, but it's interesting. I thought the 6-core Cortex M was interesting.
Yeah.
Laura, I know you wanted to know something about this, but there is a bit of activity. There's UPy Laura, which is a MicroPython repository for LoRa control of the SX127X range of chips. Looks pretty good from what I've seen. So yeah, go check that out. Looks pretty interesting. There's a bunch of those chips bundled with the ESP32 in particular, which you can get relatively cheaply. Also alluded to the fact that M5, I'll talk about it later, but the M5 have got a whole bunch of peripherals they've released recently, one of which is their LoRaWAN package. So you just stack that on top of the M5 stack, below the M5 stack.
Yep.
So I'm sure you'd be interested in that.
Yep.
There's the SciP Makes Risk V module that we talked about last month, I think, or in November. So it's pretty cool. Shipping's begun. I haven't got mine in the mail yet. Nick, who should be here anytime, is apparently carrying a couple, so we'll have a look at those. There's a few people working with MicroPython on these devices, and there's a tutorial there I've got that lets you do face detection. Like you just walk through the steps and you get face detection out of the user. Interesting chipset. Crowd Supply had an interesting feather shield as well. If you're interested in temperature management, this thing does fairly accurate temperature. Can't speak to temperature measurement. They've also got like another slightly larger board that lets you close the loop and actually do the measurement and control Peltier to control the temperature as well. They've also got official CircuitPython MicroPython support, depending on which feather board you would use to plug it to plug in and control it. $75. Pretty cool. Espressif released the ESP-I. When I say released, they've given it out to a few people in the community. You can't buy them yet as far as I'm aware, unless anyone can tell me otherwise. Very similar to some of the other camera modules that have been popped up in the market recently. This one's interesting because it's got 8 meg of RAM on the PS RAM. That's supported. That means they're doing bank switching there somehow. I don't know how yet. Because you can only address 4 meg ESP32. Otherwise, yeah, 2 meg camera, microphone. I didn't mean to be all cool as there. It's just a Z that slipped in the end of facial recognition. Yeah.
That's the difference though, because all the other cameras on the market, they're just cameras, ESP, like Wi-Fi cameras, but this actually has their face detection software on it.
Yep, so
which is pretty good.
I can't remember what the ESP library's called, but yeah, there's another, like the IDF, they've got a few of these libraries that are popping out now, like the Lyra.
And they store all the things that it takes in Flash, so next time you plug it in and boot it, it can recognise you again afterwards, which is pretty cool.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, still it's still a bit hush hush. Like I can't say
Yeah.
get a lot of details out of it yet. Scotsman have released their Lumi drive. Now this is a little board that's running on the SAMD 21s. It's just purely designed to drive APA 102s. But it's interesting because they've released it with CircuitPython support straight out of the box. And it's pretty cheap, $20. Looks pretty interesting, I thought.
So by CircuitPython support, do you mean it's just you can put CircuitPython on, or they ship it with CircuitPython?
Well, on their page, they actually advertise that CircuitPython's like the first class citizen. So whether they're actually doing anything, they don't really need to because CircuitPython kind of give it to
But
it.
it's Spark.
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah,
Getting on the bandwagon.
yeah, I'm down with
Well,
it, yeah.
giving in to
Which I might as well give a plug of. I've created an APA 102 MicroPython library, which actually stemmed from Damien. Your name's on this code originally, I don't know, maybe from the NeoPixel library, and then CircuitPython got it and converted it to work with. Sorry, Adafruit got it and made it work with CircuitPython. I've backported it back to MicroPython now, so it's come around. And one of the users in the forum says they're driving like 3,000 of the APA 102s from this now, which is kind of nice. Updates in about a second. On that though, if you want to drive more, Adafruit are looking at doing a library called the Pixel Buff. Now, this is something we might be able to leverage, I'm not sure yet, but it will actually make, it's designed to make NeoPixels and APA 102s update faster, so they're pushing more of that functionality into the C world. My library, for example, is all pure MicroPython. This would allow you to change things using a C module. Should make it a bit faster. Still in heavy development though. And I can give you guys, there's 2 tickets open, a bunch of discussion around this. It's kind of related tangentially, but if anyone's doing font rendering on displays, please come talk to me. There's a few people that are working on this, and I'd like to try and coordinate our efforts. The feather, the NRF feather, so this is Adafruit's new NRF 52840, which is one of the hardest numbers to remember ever, it seems. So it's a, not sure, which company was it that does the module? It's a Nordic chipset, but Raytech module that's just sitting on top of one of their feathers. They're a really useful chipset, particularly if you're doing BLE stuff. And of interest, CircuitPython 4 is just, CircuitPython 4 Beta 0 has just released today, or it'll release overnight. They announced it today, but it's actually coming out tomorrow. But that'll have BLE support for that particular chipset. So if you want to play with BLE, it's an interesting board to use. Similar vein, other people using this chipset. You can get one in a USB dongle. This doesn't have explicit CircuitPython support yet, but it seems inevitable that we'll get it. These things are pretty cheap, they're $13. It's pretty nice. What else we got? I mentioned F5 Stack before. They've been releasing peripherals really rapidly, particularly expanding out their Grove peripherals. But you've got things like fingerprint readers, RFID stacks, like a wacky piano thing. Piano? So yeah, go have a look at what they've got. It's pretty interesting suite of peripherals. There's a lot more than that too. Came across SuperBee on Crowd Supply. It's just a small package of the ESP32. It's designed to match Digi's XB pinout. $23. Small, cute, neat. What's not to like? Also come across Greg's post about waking up from deep sleep on the ESP32 using MicroPython, waking on touch. Yeah, all those things. We were trying to do this a little while ago when we were updating the documentation for ESP32. It wasn't totally obvious, and so Greg spelled it out. We might feed this back into the documentation. I think would be a good idea. The giant board's kind of, this is a left field kind of device. It's in the feather form factor, so that size, but it's running a chip that can run Linux. So this has been in development for a little while, and he's pretty close to releasing. This is not really MicroPython news, but I just thought that was super interesting. Yeah. No pricing yet, though.
So who sells that?
Who sells it?
Yeah.
Good question. Can't remember the guy's name, and it's not even clear how much or who's going to sell it through or anything yet. So, just some guy's been developing it on Twitter in the wild, and everyone's been linking to it because, oh my god, it's a feather and.
We might need a link on that side because if people go to Google giant board, it'll take a while to find.
If you put giant board feather, you'll get it.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Maybe, possibly. I'm sure someone will prove me wrong. Brian Locke, who I know Sion talks to herself, and he's a Scotsman, isn't he?
Sorry?
Scotsman, isn't
Ireland.
he?
Ireland.
Ireland. Sorry, Brian. But yeah, he's released this on Tindy. If you're using the old ESP8266s, especially the D1 minis, it's a great little breakout board with a little bit of prototyping area and screw terminals to just break out most of the pins. It's really good. Can someone take care of grabbing those pizzas, please?
What are you doing?
So just say thank you. Okay. $10, cheap, cheerful, and really kind of cool. Thanks, Brian. Foamy we mentioned in November, although I don't think it had a name then. Maybe it did. Maybe it did. Okay. Forget that. It had a name. Anyway, it's arrived. It's on Crowd Supply. You can order them now. Crowdfunding, if it hasn't been successful, no, I think it's gone past its threshold, so it's going to go ahead anyway. So people are already running MicroPython on these things. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
I said rapid development there. I meant that it's rapidly developing. There's a lot of people getting that have interest in this device. It's really cool. I squared C driver. I thought I mentioned this last time, but apparently I didn't, so I couldn't see it in the slides. We have talked about the SPI driver in the past. Both of those devices are designed to try and visualize your comms to your peripherals a bit easier. This one's kind of cute in that you have, so you have USB on one side and you have a breakout for I2C buses. It has a nice little way of visualizing the addresses of devices that are connected, and will show you in live. It will show you live as the data is going across the wire. It's pretty cute. Yeah, $29. It's a useful device. Hi Sam, I just wanted to give a shout out to Peter, I presume that's pronounced Peter, who's written a state machine library. It's really cool because he added MicroPython support in a really short amount of time, just when I was looking for a state machine library. So thank you, Peter. It's really nice, easy to use, got all the things you'd expect, like classes for states. You can inject events into the system which will change those states, and a state machine class to sort of tie all that together. It's really nice. Oh, and it's even UPIP installable, so that's Edit for Grand Central M4 Express. This is a monster. It's a big board designed to fit the Arduino Mega form factor. Again, we're talking one of the, I think it's a Sandy, is it 21?
51.
51?
Yeah.
It makes sense that it would be
We've got
it's a 51, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Got a Mega Flash on board the chip. They also added an extra 8 meg over SPI to introduce K RAM, but yeah, tons of GPIO. So if you've got lots of GPIO to play with, pretty neat board. And if you bought into the Mega form factor. And they've also got the Metro M4 Wi-Fi Express, which I don't think's on sale yet, but they've basically tied together one of their SAMDs with an ESP32 just purely for the Wi-Fi. Interesting way to do it. I like it all on the ESP32.
Interestingly though, apparently this isn't using their AT command stuff. They're talking to it via SPI somehow.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're writing some firmware for the ESP32 to do all the Wi-Fi stuff, and they're making their own interface for it.
I just assumed those were going to go
No, it's SPI connected somehow.
Makes sense. Okay. Martin Harizanov has been doing a lot of this ESP32 stuff for a long time. He's using C, but it's got some really interesting like display updates and some GUI libraries. So this is a product that he sells. It's got an interesting collection of features. It's got ESP32, really nice 341 with a 2.5-inch, 2.4-inch display. It's got like a light sensor, a humidity sensor, and temperature sensor, and it's got like a packet radio that's an optional purchase for that. And he supports it pretty well. It's an interesting board. What else we got? I meant to cover this last time, but a guy by the name of Mike Teachman has released like it's a big page. I'll show you guys later. But basically it describes all of the headers that you need to use if you want to create like a C module that's accessible from MicroPython. But it talks about like how to register the different, if you want keyword arguments or if you want 6 arguments versus 3, that kind of stuff. So it's really handy for if you want to do like a C module in MicroPython. MicroPython version 1.10, Damien. I'll hand it to you. Yeah, come stand over. So we've got new release, kind of imminent. Did you want to slide or did you want to
I'll just, yeah.
just talk?
I'll just stand here. Shall I just have it? Yeah, so I plan to release the next version of MicroPython. Well, it's been a while, and I planned to do it a while ago, but just other things got in the way. So we'll be going up to 1.10 because it's quite a lot of changes. The main changes. So there's another list here. So the main thing is the introduction of the NRF port, so the port for NRF 5.1 and 5.2 chips like microbit and this new Adafruit one as well. So that took a while, but eventually got in. There's been lots of improvements on the native emitter, so to be able to compile Python code to machine code. So it supports generators now, so you can do generators in machine code, which is, yeah, you get about maybe a 50% speed boost when you go from Python to native code. So yeah, it's not too bad, which sometimes can make a difference. But that has room for a lot of optimization in the future. So the idea is to get it on par. The features of normal Python with compiled to bytecode and compiled to machine code are the same. So you can just say compile everything to machine code and it should just work. So that's pretty close to working now. The other sort of, one of the main things with, there's this IO base thing. So in the IO module, there's a class called IO base, capital I, capital O, capital B base, which is in normal Python. And when you derive from IO base, it means you can create your own stream object, which responds to read and write. So say you wanted to, instead of saving to a file, you save to, or write to a file, you're writing to your own user ob file, your user object. So you can create something that just behaves like a normal stream. So when you do something like print, in the print function, you say, file equals, you can specify a file to print to instead of standard out. So you can print to like a disk file or any other stream. You can actually make your own object that you print to. So you can say, I'm creating some object which will take all the output of print and consume it. So that's just one use, that there are lots of uses. So you can now create your own streams within Python and plug them into wherever streams could go. Yeah, so I mean, lots of things are streams like sockets and files and many different things. So that's quite cool, and yeah, it simplifies lots of things if you have that in. There's a uCrypto lib which was introduced, but since the last version for it has raw AES encryption, decryption. There's also addition of sub in the RE module, so you can do substitutions, which is useful. Yeah, that's the main thing in there. For so here there's a few other bug fixes, ESP86 with DHT22 and ability to turn off the REPL in the ESP8266, so you can, because there's only one UART on that chip, on the 8266, so if you want to use it not for the REPL but for using sensors, you can now turn off the REPL and just say I want UART for something else. And yeah, the ESP32 has seen a lot of bug fixes to improve stability, like connecting to Wi-Fi, threading, resetting with threading enabled, and the documentation is the last step, which has been done in the past few days. Well, it's sort of finally there, and yeah, hopefully once all this stuff's in, then we can move forward with features after 1.10. After the 1.10, there's lots of things waiting. So yeah, we just need to get this thing out. but it sort of gets harder and harder to make a release these days because it's just more and more things have to be checked to make sure things aren't broken. But yeah, it should be done this week.
That's exciting. That's great. I'm looking forward to it. Just one of those other points that I wanted to pick out was a bit of a shout out to Angus Grattan of Expressive, who's helped push us across the line with getting PS RAM support on the Pico D4, which is something that Scott and I have been looking at a project that uses that chip. That would be really helpful, and hopefully that'll get integrated in 110 if we pick up the latest.
After 110.
After 110, okay.
Yeah, not before. It's too risky to do it.
Yeah, sure. Okay. I think we'll stop there, but and we'll eat pizza because that smell's getting to me.
Yep.
But after that, we'll come back and have just a quick look at 3 of the projects that some of the guys here are working on. So just like that.
Cool.
Cool.